Welcome to Raos Academy, Hyderabad Branch. I'm Shwetashri. Today I'm here to teach some of the most important economics PYQs. Whereas the first question is with regarding to that of the external sector of India. So if you see the question with regarding to external sector of India, in the context of India, which of the following factors are contributors to the reducing the risk of currency crisis? So before getting into different statements, first and foremost you need to understand what do you mean by this term currency crisis referred to. So firstly, if you see this term currency crisis, it actually referred to that of devaluation of rupee or the depreciation of rupee. And when will the devaluation or the depreciation of rupee will going to take place? Whenever there is a less dollars in the market and a greater amount of rupee in the market present, then you will get to see the situation called currency crisis or that of the depreciation or the devaluation of the rupee. So here the question is, which of the following factors are contributors to reducing the risk of currency crisis? So which of these following factors will contribute to reduce this currency crisis? That means which of these factors will going to helps to overcome this problem of currency crisis? That means, so how you will get to overcome this currency crisis or that of the devaluation of the rupee when there is a stabilization of currency in the market? That means the increasing of the dollars as well as that of the decreasing of the rupee. So this is the situation which will going to reduce the devaluation of rupee or the problem of currency crisis. So let's see which of these factors will going to promote this particular situation of promoting the dollars in the economy and reduce the rupee in the market. So here the first one is the foreign currency earnings of India's IT sector. So what do you mean by this foreign currency earnings of India's IT sectors? It referred to IT exports, right? That means the export of information technology services. So export of these services will going to bring the dollars into the economy. So it is a correct statement because we need to increase the dollars in the economy in order to overcome the crisis situation. Then followed by increasing the government expenditure. What do you mean by increasing of the government expenditure? It referred to increasing of the subsidies as well as that of the different welfare schemes, which will again going to increase the money supply in the market. This lead to increasing of the rupee in the market. But in order to overcome the currency crisis situation, we need to reduce the rupee in the market. But this factor promotes or increases the rupee in the market. So it is going to be an incorrect one. Then followed by remittances from Indians from abroad. So these remittances from India to India from abroad will going to increase the dollars in the economy. So in such way, in order to overcome the currency crisis or in order to overcome the depreciation of the rupee in the market, we need to increase the dollars in the market and reduce the rupees. So among all of these first and third statements will going to help in order to overcome this currency crisis. So 1 and 3 are the correct answer. So option B is the correct one with regarding to the currency crisis question. Then followed by the second one is consider the following statements. So most of the India's external debt is owed by government entities. So firstly, if you see what do you mean by this term external debt referred to, here the term debt is nothing but it is the borrowing. Debt is the technical term to the borrowing, whereas that of credit is the technical term to giving loans. So here it is talking about the external debt, that means external borrowing, and borrowing of what? Loan. So here in terms of the question, most of the India's external borrowing will be owed by the government entities. It is an incorrect one. It is greatly owed by the corporate sector, that is the different companies in India will owe a greater amount of, will going to take a lot of loans from the external markets as well as that of the different international banks as well as different foreign companies. So it is the corporates who owe greater external debt, not that of the government entities. So first one is an incorrect one. Followed by all of India's external debt is denominated in US dollars. So if you see this particular question, this particular statement, here it says that all of India's external debt, that means external borrowing, is denominated in US dollars. So first and foremost, it is not all but most of the India's external debt, that means most of the India's borrowings from the external markets or that of the international markets, will going to be denominated in the US dollars. And also there is a chronology. We used to borrow a lot of loans or that of the credits from that of international markets, firstly in the form of US dollars, followed by in rupees, then followed by yen or that of the Japan yen, that means which is a Japanese currency, then followed by special drawing rights, followed by euros, then followed by others. So this is the correct chronology in terms of the debt which were taken by the India, that means the external debt which is denominated in this particular chronology. That means most of our debt will be in the form of the dollars, then followed by rupees, then followed by Japan yen, followed by special drawing rights, then followed by euros and others. So here it is not all of the debt is denominated in dollars, but it is most of the debt is denominated in dollars. So it is also an incorrect one. So the correct answer with regarding to this particular question is option D, neither 1 nor 2. So here the question is, consider the following statements. The purchasing power parity exchange rates are calculated by comparing the prices of the same basket of goods and services in different countries. So before getting into these statements analysis, let me give you a brief background. What do you actually mean by the purchasing power parity? Here the term itself, the purchasing power parity, is mainly responsible in comparing the value of different currencies across the different countries on the basis of a single or a particular basket of goods and services. So on the basis of the cost of these goods and services present, that means on the basis of the cost of these particular basket of goods and services in different countries, the value of the different currencies across the globe will be evaluated. So this purchasing power parity greatly helps in comparing the value of different countries across the globe. So here it says that purchasing power parity exchange rates are calculated by comparing the prices of the same basket of goods and services in different countries, which is directly a correct statement. So based on this analysis, we'll get to know the value of $1 in terms of rupees, in terms of yen, in terms of euros, and in such a way you'll get to understand the comparison of value of currency between the two countries. So then followed by in terms of PPP dollars, that means the purchasing power parity dollars, India is the 6th largest economy in the world. Usually the size of the economy is calculated on the basis of the GDP, that means the gross domestic product, and also at the market price. And also the size of the economy will be calculated on the basis of gross domestic product at market price, and also it will be calculated at gross domestic product at the rate of purchasing power parity. Whereas what is the position of India in terms of the GDP at market price is at the 4th position, whereas that of the India in terms of GDP at purchasing power parity, it is at the 3rd position. That is after China, USA, you will get to see India. But here it has given the 6th largest economy. So it is going to be an incorrect one because it is the 3rd largest economy. So second one is an incorrect one, only first one is the correct answer. So option 1, that is the option A, is the only correct answer with regarding to purchasing power parity. Then followed by, with reference to national intellectual property policy, consider the following statements. So before getting into different statements, let me give you a brief background with regarding to national intellectual property rights policy. We have a particular World Trade Organization which will going to manage the all different types of global trade issues and also promotes the global trade all over the globe. So under this World Trade Organization, there is a particular agreement. This agreement called the TRIPS, that is, it is a trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. So this particular agreement, that means this particular body of TRIPS will going to provide the minimum standards in order to protect the intellectual property rights. And on the basis of the minimum standards which have been given by the TRIPS organization, the Government of India has enacted a particular law that is called the National Intellectual Property Rights Policy of 2016. So, in such way, under the World Trade Organization, there is a body called the TRIPS, which will the main purpose of this TRIPS organization is in order to provide the minimum standards in order to protect the intellectual property rights of different countries. So, in order to align with the obligations of these minimum standards, the Government of India has enacted a particular policy that is called the National Intellectual Property Rights Policy called on 2016. And under this particular policy, the intellectual property rights will be protected in India, whereas this particular policy will be implemented in India by the Department for the Promotion of Internal Trade and again the Industry and Internal Trade, which works under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So, under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Department for the Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade will going to implement this National Intellectual Property Policy in India. So, with regarding to this particular concept, let's see the different statements. That means this particular policy reiterates India's commitment to Doha Development Agenda as well as that of the TRIPS Agreement. As I told you before, this particular policy aligns with the TRIPS obligation of WTO, so which is a correct statement, and also Doha Development Agenda is also in order to protect the intellectual property rights. So, first one is a correct one, then followed by the Department of Industrial Policy as well as that of the promotion is the nodal agency for regulating the intellectual property rights in India. So, as I told you before, here it is the DPIIT, that means the Department for the Promotion of Industry and again the Internal Trade will going to implement this particular policy. Initially, this DPIIT formerly is called as the Department of Industrial Policy and the Promotion. So, it is also a correct answer. So, option 1 and 2, both of them are the correct. So, C is the correct answer. Both 1 and 2 are correct with regarding to National Intellectual Property Policy. Then followed by, consider the following statements. So, here it is greatly talking about the New Development Bank. So, before getting into these two statements, let me give you a brief background with regarding to the origin and the history of New Development Bank. We all know about the BRICS organization, right? So, on the 6th summit of BRICS, which has been held in Brazil, a proposal has been brought in order to establish a particular regional bank which is called the New Development Bank in 2014, whereas this particular New Development Bank has come into force on 2015. So, the main aim of this regional banking institution, that is the New Development Bank, which has been established under the BRICS organization, is in order to provide the financial assistance for the infrastructure as well as that of the sustainable development projects for different BRICS countries. That means this BRICS includes the Brazil, Russia, India, China as well as that of the South Africa. So, its main aim is in order to provide the financial assistance, that means the financial loans for the infrastructure as well as that of the sustainable development projects in these different BRICS countries. So, with regarding to that, let's see the different statements, and also the headquarters of this New Development Bank has been located in Shanghai of China. And the reason for the establishment of its headquarters in Shanghai is in order to promote the innovation, efficiency as well as that of the sustainability. So, the headquarters of this particular bank, regional bank, has been located in Shanghai of China. So, on the basis of this, let's see the different statements. So, New Development Bank has been set up by APEC, that means the Asia Pacific Economic Forum. So, it is not this regional organization, it has been established by the BRICS organization. And what do you mean by this particular organization? It is called the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. It is an economic forum which includes all the countries which have been located at the rim of Pacific Ocean. And the main purpose of this particular regional organization is in order to promote the economic cooperation as well as that of the trade relations in all the member countries which have been located in the rim of Pacific Ocean. So it is an incorrect one because it has been set up by the BRICS, not the APEC regional organization. So these two are the incorrect ones. Then followed by the headquarters of New Development Bank is in Shanghai. So it is a correct one. As I told you before, its headquarters had been located in Shanghai of China. So second one is a correct one. So option B is the correct answer. That is only 2 is the correct answer. Then followed by, in the context of which of the following do you sometimes find the terms amber box, blue box as well as that of green box in the news? So before getting into different statements, let me give you a brief background with regarding to all these colored boxes in the question. So there is a organization called the World Trade Organization. Under the World Trade Organization, all the agricultural subsidies of different countries have been categorized into 3 different colored boxes, which include the amber box, followed by blue box, followed by that of the green box. Whereas the World Trade Organization has classified the different agricultural subsidies which have been provided by different world countries, and also why it has made the classification of the agricultural subsidies given by the different countries, because these agricultural subsidies which has been given by the different countries of the world will lead to that of distorting the agricultural trade in the international market. So on that basis, these agricultural subsidies on the basis of distorting the agricultural trade have been classified into 3 colored boxes, which includes the amber box, blue box as well as that of the green box. So accordingly, so all of these colored boxes were in news with related to World Trade Organization. Then followed by, with reference to International Monetary and Financial Committee, consider the following statements. So before getting into different statements, let me give you a brief background with regarding to International Monetary and Financial Committee. We have a financial institution which is called the International Monetary Fund, and under this International Monetary Fund there is a committee or that of the governing body of International Monetary Fund, which is called the International Monetary Fund Committee. It is a governing body of IMF, and this particular committee is greatly responsible in analyzing and also in discussing the different financial issues which have been faced by different world countries. So on the basis of the analysis of the different financial issues faced by the different countries, this particular governing body will going to advise the IMF in designing different policies and again programs. So whereas that of the World Bank, if you see, this World Bank acts as an observer in this committee. So in such way, this IMFC acts as a coordinating body between the World Bank as well as that of the IMF. So with regarding to this concept, let's see the different statements. So IMFC discusses matters of concern affecting the global economy and advises the IMF on the directions of its work. So which is directly a correct statement, and also which is directly a correct purpose of IMFC. Then followed by, the World Bank participates as an observer in IMFC's meetings. So which is also a correct statement. The World Bank acts as an observer in the meetings of IMFC. So in such way, IMFC acts as a coordinating body between the IMF as well as that of the World Bank. So both of them are the correct ones. So option C is the correct answer. Then followed by, the terms agreement on agriculture and again the agreement on application of sanitary and phytosanitary measures and again the peace clause appear in the news frequently in the context of the affairs of which of the following statements. So before getting into all these statements, let me give you a brief background with regarding to what these agreements actually talks about. So first and foremost, we all know we have the World Trade Organization, which will look over and also manages the global trade. Under this World Trade Organization, all these agreements have been made. If you see with regarding to agreement on agriculture, whereas this agreement of agriculture is greatly responsible in putting forth the different international rules in order to promote the agricultural trade in the international market and also in order to reduce the trade barriers with regarding to agricultural trade in international markets. Then followed by the agreement on sanitary and phytosanitary measures, whereas this agreement is greatly responsible in putting forth the international rules with regarding to food safety as well as that of animal and plant health. So in doing so, this particular agreement greatly emphasizes on reducing the disguise of health measures reason which has been put forward by different countries, which acts as the trade barriers. That means the different countries will put forth the different health based concern as a, they will use that health based concern as well as these safety measures as a trade barrier. So in order to overcome that particular health based and again the health safety based trade barriers, this particular agreement greatly helps in putting forth the international rules in order to overcome the different issues which have been faced with regarding to food safety as well as that of animal and plant health safety. Then followed by that of the peace clause. And this particular peace clause is greatly helps in protecting the different agricultural subsidies provided by the different countries against the different legal challenges of this World Trade Organization. So here it is asking the direct question, which is the World Trade Organization. All these agreements were referred and also made under the World Trade Organization, which greatly manages the world trade, that is the global trade. Then followed by, with reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. So the rate of growth of real GDP, here the question is, there has been a persistent deficit budget year after year. So which of the following actions can be taken by the government in order to reduce the deficit? So before getting into different statements, let me give you a brief background with regarding to deficit budget. What do you mean by that of the deficit budget? Budget are of three types. One being that of deficit budget, and the other one being that of surplus budget, and the other one being that of neutral one, or that of the balanced budget. So if you see with regarding to that of the deficit budget, the deficit will happen when there is the expenditure is greater than that of the revenue, whereas the surplus budget will be observed when the revenue is greater than that of the expenditure, whereas the neutral or the balanced budget will be observed when the expenditure is exactly balanced by that of the revenue. So here it is talking about the deficit budget, that means where the expenditure is greater than that of the revenue. So here the question is, which of the following actions can be taken by the government of India in order to reduce the deficit? So what we have to do in order to overcome this deficit? So this deficit usually happens when the expenditure is greater than that of the revenue. So in order to overcome this deficit, we have to reduce the expenditure and increase the revenue, right? So let's see the different actions, and let's see which of these actions will going to match this particular situation. That means which of these factors will going to reduce the expenditure and improves the revenue. So reducing the revenue expenditure. So reducing the expenditure will going to helps in overcome this deficit budget, which is a correct one. Then followed by introducing the new welfare schemes, whereas the introduction of new welfare schemes will going to increase the expenditure. It doesn't fetch any revenue to the government, so it is going to be an incorrect one. Then followed by the rationalizing subsidies. What do you mean by the term rationalizing subsidies? Is nothing but, that means in order to rationalize or in order to overcome the leakages of these subsidies, that means in order to make these subsidies avail to only those eligible beneficiaries. So rationalizing subsidies is also will going to fetch, that means it will going to overcome the problem of leakage of these subsidies to rich people and make these subsidies available to that of eligible beneficiaries. So this is also a correct one. Expanding industries. So in order for the expanding industries, it requires a greater amount of expenditure. It do not fetch revenue in the instant mode. So it is going to be an incorrect one. So 1 and 4 are the correct ones. So 1 and 3 are the correct. So option A is the correct answer with regarding to the deficit budget. Next question is the convertibility of rupee implies which of the following? First and foremost, you need to understand what do you mean by this term convertibility of rupee refer to. Here the convertibility of rupee refer to the conversion of rupee into any currency freely in the international market. That means the conversion of rupee into dollars, into yen, into pound, and again into that of the euro. So that's what it is actually talking about, the convertibility of rupees. So here the first one is being able to convert rupee notes into gold. It is not talking about the gold but into different foreign currencies. Then followed by allowing the value of rupee to be fixed by the market forces. It is not talking about the fixation of the value of the rupee. It is actually talking about the conversion, that means the free conversion of rupee, that means one form of currency to another form of international form of currency. Then followed by freely permitting the conversion of rupee to other currencies and vice versa, which is directly a correct answer. Then followed by developing an international market for the currencies in India. It is also not talking about the establishment of an international market. So 3 is the correct answer with regarding to convertibility of rupee. Then followed by the problem of international liquidity is related to the non-availability of which of the following. So before getting into it, you need to understand what do you mean by this term international liquidity refer to. So here the term international liquidity actually refer to those currencies, that means we will call it as the hard currencies. That means that includes those currencies which were greatly used in the transactions as well as that of the payments in the international markets. And these hard currencies includes the US dollars, euro, as well as that of the pounds, as well as that of the Japanese yen. So these all over the different types of hard currencies, that means which were greatly used in the international payments as well as the transactions in the international markets. So here the problem of this international liquidity. What do you mean by here the term problem of international liquidity? So here international liquidity is nothing but the availability of these hard currencies with a country, whereas the problem of international liquidity means shortage of these currencies. That means shortage of these hard currencies. It is related to the non-availability of which of the following. That means the shortage of these this particular liquidity will be observed due to non-availability of these hard currencies, right? So where you will get to see the hard currencies, that is the dollars and the other hard currencies. So option 3 is the correct answer with regarding to international liquidity. Next one. So with reference to union budget, which of the following are covered under the non-plan expenditure? So initially this is a far way more previous year question. So here usually before the Niti Aayog we have a body which is called the Planning Commission. So under the Planning Commission there used to be two kinds of expenditures, one being that of the planned expenditure and the other one being that of non-planned expenditure. So planned expenditure includes that particular expenditure which has been mentioned in the budget with regarding to expenditure of different policies as well as that of the different projects. Whereas in case of the non-planned expenditure referred to, it includes the expenditure on those different sectors which were not actually planned in the union budget as well as in the 5-year plans. So here it is, the question is with regarding to non-planned budget. This non-planned budget is usually observed in the defense expenditure. Here in terms of defense expenditure includes the investment in the defense equipment as well as that of the soldiers and again the armory. Then followed by the interest payments with regarding to that of the external commercial borrowings. Then followed by salaries and pensions to different government employees as well as the subsidies to different eligible beneficiaries of different welfare schemes. So all of them will come under the non-planned expenditure. So option C is the correct answer with regarding to non-planned expenditure. Then followed by with reference to balance of payments, which of the following constitutes the current account? So before getting into different components, let me give you a brief background with regarding to balance of payments. What do you mean by this particular term balance of payment refer to? Here the balance of payment, it refer to the all kinds of transactions between the India and again the all the world countries in terms of for the import as well as the export of goods and services between the India and again the abroad, which will be made by the Indian residents within a particular time. That means within a particular time period, or you can say in 1 year. So balance of payments is nothing but it is a record of all transactions between the India and again between the abroad countries with regarding to the trade of goods and services made by that of the Indian residents in a particular year. So here this particular record or the balance of payment includes the 4 important components. First one being that of the current account, next one the capital account, then followed by net errors and omissions, then followed by forex reserves. So if you see in case of the current account, there are 2 important components, one being that of the balance of visibles and the other one being that of the balance of invisibles. So here the term visibles refer to the goods or that of the merchandise. So here it is the visibles, balance of visibles actually refer to the import and again the export of all the different goods, whereas that of the invisibles actually refer to the import and the export of all the different kinds of services. And also these invisibles includes the services as well as the net foreign income from abroad and again the transfers and again the remittances. All of them will be observed under the invisibles. Then followed by under the capital account, you will get to see the loans, that means which includes the external commercial borrowings and again the foreign loans or the external assistance will be observed under the loans. Then followed by that of the foreign investment. This foreign investment includes the foreign direct investment as well as that of the foreign portfolio investment. Then followed by under the forex reserves, you will get to see the foreign currencies, then followed by gold and again the special drawing rights and again the reverse tranche position. So these all were the different components of the balance of payment. First one being that of the current account, followed by the capital account, followed by net errors and again the omissions, followed by the forex reserves. So here the question is, with reference to balance of payments, which of the following constitutes the current account? That means it is asking about the components of the current account, which includes the balance of visibles or the balance of goods and again the balance of services or that of invisibles. So it is talking about the balance of trade. So here this balance of trade is actually talking about the balance of visibles. That means here the term balance of trade is actually talking about the entire trade of the current account. That means which includes both the imports and again the exports of goods as well as the imports and exports of services, which includes the balance of trade. So which is directly a correct one with under the current account. Then followed by foreign assets. These foreign assets were observed under the capital account through that of foreign investment, which includes the FDI and FPI. So it will comes under the capital account. Then followed by balance of invisibles. So here the balance of invisibles is actually talking about the services under the current account, which is a correct one. Then followed by special drawing rights. Special drawing rights is not a component of current account, but this special drawing rights is a component of forex reserves. So it is also an incorrect one. So with regarding to that of current account, it is balance of trade as well as that of the balance of invisibles are correct. That is 1 and 3 are the only correct one. So option C is the correct answer. Then followed by which of the following constitute a capital account? So let's again see with regarding to that of the balance of payment. We have the current account, we have the capital account, net errors and omissions, followed by forex reserves. So under the capital, you will get to see 3 most important components. First one being that of the banking capital, followed by the foreign investment, which includes the foreign direct investment and again the foreign portfolio investment, then followed by loans, which includes the external commercial borrowings, external assistance. So with regarding to the components of this capital account, let's see the different statements. So foreign loans, which is a directly correct one. Here the external commercial borrowings is actually referred to the loans, that is the foreign loans. Then followed by foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment is a part of foreign investment. It is also directly correct one. Then followed by private remittances. These private remittances were a part of current account. As I initially told you, it includes the goods or the visibles, then followed by that of the invisibles or that of the services. So under the invisibles, you will get to see the services as well as the net foreign income from abroad, and again you will get to see the remittances. That means remittances are nothing but the amount or that of the or it is the amount or that of the cash which has been sent by the foreign nationals from abroad to India. So that's what actually private remittance is talking about. These private remittances are a part of the current account but is not the capital account. Then followed by portfolio investment. So portfolio investment is directly a part of foreign investment of capital account. So it is also a correct one. So 1, 2, 4 are the correct ones. So option B is the correct answer with regarding to different components of capital account. Then followed by which one of the following group of items are included in the India's forex reserves. So if you see the forex reserves, as I initially told you, this forex reserves includes the foreign currency, gold, followed by special drawing rights, followed by reverse tranche position. So these four are the components, they are the only components of the forex reserves of RBI. So with regarding to that, let's see the different statements. So foreign currency assets, special drawing rights, and again the loans from the foreign countries. This loans from the foreign countries component is a part of capital account. So it is going to be an incorrect one. Then followed by foreign currency assets, gold holdings of the RBI as well as that of the special drawing rights. So all of them are the correct ones. But let's analyze the remaining ones also. Here the foreign currency assets, loans from the World Bank, and again the special drawing rights. Whereas that of the loans from the World Bank, it is a part of the capital account but not the forex reserves. So it is going to be an incorrect one. Followed by the foreign currency assets, gold holdings of the RBI, and again the loans from the World Bank. As I told you before, it is a part of capital account, not the forex reserves. So option 2 is the only correct answer with regarding to the components which were a part of forex reserves. Then followed by which of the following would include the foreign direct investment in India. So here, before getting into the different statements, you need to understand what is actually the foreign direct investment is all about and what is the difference between the foreign direct investment and again the foreign portfolio investment. We all know under the foreign investment there are two components, one being that of the foreign direct investment and the other one being that of the foreign portfolio investment. So the foreign direct investment refer to the investment of a foreign company in the Indian company's equity of greater than or that of the 10% of the shares of the Indian company. That means whenever a foreign company or that a foreign individual invest in more than 10% or the more than 10% of the shares of an Indian company, then we will call it as the foreign direct investment. If their investment is less than that of the 10%, then we will call it as the foreign portfolio investment, and also investment only in the listed companies of the stock market. So with regarding to that, let's see the different statements with regarding to foreign direct investment. So here, subsidiaries of foreign companies in India. For example, if a foreign company wants to establish its subsidiary in India, then most of its shares were a part of that particular foreign company itself, right? So it is going to be a part of foreign direct investment. That means definitely there will be a greater than 10% of the shares of this particular subsidiary of the foreign company includes the investment from the abroad. So then followed by the majority of the foreign equity holding in the Indian companies. Here the term majority of the foreign equity Here the majority, it is actually talking about the majority, means the more than 50%, that means more than 50% of foreign equity holding in India's companies. So usually the main condition is it has to be more than 10%, but here it is more than 50% equity holding by the foreign nationals in the Indian companies. So it is also a part of foreign direct investment, followed by companies which were exclusively financed by the foreign companies. Here the term exclusively refer to 100% investment of the foreign companies within the Indian companies, that means within the Indian companies shares. So C is also a correct one. Then followed by, it has directly given the foreign portfolio investment. Where is the foreign portfolio investment, means their investment in less than 10% of Indian companies shares. So it is going to be an incorrect one. So here it is actually asked about which of the following will include under the foreign direct investment. That means they should hold the greater than or equal to 10% of the shares of Indian companies. So the first three will going to match as a part of the foreign direct investment. So 1, 2, 3 are the correct. So option D is the correct answer with regarding to foreign direct investment. Then followed by, consider the following statements. The price of any currency in the international market is decided by which of the following. So first and foremost, if you see the price of the any currency, that means it is actually talking about the value of any currency in the international market will be decided by which of the following factors. So before getting into it, let me give you a brief background. Here, if you talk about the value of a currency, value of a currency will be determined based on the presence of the dollars and again the rupee in the market. So the value of the currency, that means the appreciation of a particular domestic currency will be observed whenever there is a greater dollars and lesser rupee, whereas the depreciation will be observed whenever there are less dollar and again the more rupee were observed in the market. So here the value of the currency in the particular market is greatly depends upon the demand of the products or that of demand of the goods present in that particular country. So if there is a greater demand of goods in that particular country, then it will lead to that of the greater exports, and this greater exports will going to fetch more amount of dollars into that of the economy. So more dollars into the economy will lead to that of the appreciation of the currency. So here the value of the currency will be determined based on that of the demand of the goods and again their exports. So on the basis, let's see the different statements with regarding to price of any currency. So where is the price of any currency in the international market? It is not fixed by the World Bank. World Bank is actually meant to provide the financial assistance to different countries in order to improve their economy. So first one is an incorrect one. Then followed by the demand for goods or services provided by the country concerned. So which is directly a correct one, as I told you before, based on that of the demand of the products or that of the goods present in a particular country will going to fetch the value to the currency. So 2 is a correct one. Then followed by the stability of the government of the concerned country, which is also a correct statement. On the basis of the stability, you will get to see the FDI investment. If there is a greater stability and again the better friendly fiscal policy present in a particular country, it will going to attract the foreign investment, which includes the foreign direct investment as well as that of the foreign portfolio investment. So if there is a less stability, that means whenever there is a huge political conflicts or that of any kind of war situation present in a particular country, that particular political instability will not going to attract the foreign investment. In fact, it will going to cause the capital flight in that particular country. So the stability of a particular country, especially the political stability of a particular country, plays a huge role in terms of the foreign investment, which will going to fetch and which will going to determine the value of that particular currency. So 3 is also a correct one. Then followed by the economic potential of the country in question. So economic potential of a country is greatly talking about the GDP or the economic growth, which is irrelevant to that of the price of the currency. So 2 and 3 are the correct ones. So option B is the correct answer with regarding to determination of price of a currency. Then followed by, in terms of economy, the visit by foreign nationals to witness the 19th World Wealth, that means 19th Commonwealth Games in India amount to which of the following? So first and foremost, if you see, whenever there are any kind of the world games, that means in terms of the FIFA World Cup or cricket ODI World Cup or any kind of this kind of international games were held in a particular country, it will going to fetch a greater amount of exports. And what do you actually refer to exports mean by? So the term exports means, that means the purchase of different goods and services by the non-residents from the host country. So usually whenever there were these kinds of global sports were conducted in a particular country, in that particular host country, different foreign nationals will going to come, and they will be provided with the accommodation, food, restaurants, as well as that of they will also invest in different goods and again the services. So because of all their investment in different goods and services, that means these non-resident nationals of different abroad countries will going to invest in the Indian goods and again the services. So which directly refer to the exports. Exports means the investment of the different non-residents within the goods and the services is called the exports. So option is exports. That means whenever a particular country will going to host this kind of global sports, that means will going to host these global sports, it will going to promote the exports of that particular host country. Then the next one is consider the following actions which the government can take. So here the question is, which of the above actions can help in reducing the current account deficit? So first and foremost, if you see, what do you mean by this term current account deficit, and when this current account deficit will going to come? So this current account deficit, usually we have the current account which includes the goods, that means trade on goods and again the trade on services, whereas the deficit on this particular current account, that means the current account deficit will be observed when the expenditure is greater than that of the revenue, and this expenditure is greater than revenue will be observed whenever we import greater than that of exporting. So in order to overcome this particular current account deficit, we have to reduce the import and promote the exports. So in such way we can going to overcome this current account deficit. So if you see, one of the actions which has been given is the devaluing the domestic currency. So let's see how the devaluating of domestic currency will going to affect the current account deficit. So devaluating of the domestic currency is nothing but the depreciation of rupee. So whenever there is a depreciation of the rupee, it will going to increase the exports and decrease the imports. And how it will going to work? Because of the depreciation of the rupee, the Indian products will become very cheaper. So because of that reason, that is the Indian products will going to be cheaper, the exports will become more competitive in nature. So the devaluating of currency will going to promote the exports. So which is a correct answer. Then followed by the reduction in the export subsidy. It shouldn't be the reduction but the promotion of export subsidy. Then followed by adopting sustainable policies which attract the greater FDI and more funds from the financial institutional investments. So here that means the attracting the FDI and again the FII means, that means adopting the sustainable suitable policies in order to attract the foreign investment. So here the foreign investment will going to increase the dollars. So this investment, that means their investment in different companies will going to increase the dollars and promotes this investment will going to lead to the increase of the production of goods and services. So in such way it will going to promote in appreciation of the rupee, that means in order to overcome the current account deficit. So in such way 1 and 3 are the correct ones, whereas the 2 is the incorrect one. So this is all about the current account deficit, that means the ways, the actions we have to take in order to overcome the current account deficit. I think the lecture is informative. Thank you.